who's not familiar, for anyone who's not aware of who Wellspring is, we are a network of national support centers for both cancer patients and for caregivers. We serve any patient or caregiver, regardless of their type of cancer, what stage of the journey they're at, and what their relationship is to cancer. We offer a wide range of professionally led programs. So we have an incredible team of fee-for-service leaders that are social workers, psychologists, kinesiologists, physiotherapists, dietitians. We have quite a range of professionals that work with us. And these individuals who lead our programs are then supported by volunteers who have their own expertise in cancer, by either being a patient themselves and have had that experience, or being a caregiver to a cancer patient. All of our programs are offered at no charge. And we are a charitable organization that doesn't have government or foundational funding, but we do generate our donations through events and major gifts and a variety of other foundations. So that's a little bit about who we are. We do have affiliated centers across Canada. Right now, there's currently 11 physical centers and one virtual center. And today, what I wanted to do was focus predominantly on Well on the Web. So back in 2019, Wellspring was working on a strategic project to launch a virtual center that would allow us to provide support and services more broadly than the GTA. We realize there's a lot of people in rural areas or in different provinces that just don't have access to the breadth of programming that Wellspring offers. So we started looking at how could we provide virtual programming. Our virtual center, Well on the Web, was launched in fall of 2019. And it was very cautiously and strategically launched at that time, with the idea that we were going to invest in slowly converting programs to virtual delivery. It serves a national audience across all provinces and territories. And right now, I'm pleased to share that we've had individuals join Wellspring's Well on the Web programs from every province in Canada, as well as 2 of the 3 territories. Also the Well on the Web, one of its other goals was to allow us to work collaboratively with our other affiliated centers in Alberta and across Ontario. So far, it's been quite successful. When the pandemic forced the closures of our centers in March of 2020, we were in a really strong position to be able to adapt and modify and move into that virtual space very quickly. So within about a month, we had 94% of our programming being offered virtually. And to date, we have over 50 different programs available for access through the Well on the Web portal. And our first year virtual, we saw over 5,000 individuals join in programs. So we're very pleased to see the growth. So just to give you a little bit more detail on what's involved, we break our programming into 5 core areas: emotional programming, physical, functional, informational, and practical. The 5th category is social, which we haven't been doing as much of in the online space. Just to give you a sense of what's happening oops, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get rid of the, there we go. Okay, so since the start of the pandemic, we have received close to 80,000 program visits through our Well on the Web portal, which we've been really pleased to see. That represents about a 27% increase in demand from our pre-pandemic numbers. Now, those are, this slide is meant to show you a little bit about the breakdown of where people are looking for support virtually. 34% of those program visits were to emotionally focused programs, things like support groups, etc. 33% were for physical functional type programming, 18% were information-based programs, and 4% were practical. We did have a small amount of social programming, but it came in less than 1%, so it's not represented in the graph here. Now, one of the interesting things we discovered was that we saw a 68% decrease in new members coming to Wellspring from Odette Cancer Center between our pre-COVID numbers and our first year of COVID. It dropped from over 300 individuals to about 91 individuals coming. And that's likely a factor of many, many things. One, with our center being closed right on your campus there, it wasn't as top of mind for people, and it wasn't as easy for them to drop over. And being that we were in the virtual space, it's just not as top of mind. So today my goal is to bring everyone up to date on what's available through Wellspring, and that virtual programming continues to be available as a resource for your patients. Well on the web programming is also offered in a variety of different formatting, because we know people's comfort level tends to be a little bit different. And so we wanted to make sure that there was something for everybody on the platform. So the first category there is the registered groups. So those are live interactive group programs that are usually a fixed length of time. Our groups range from 4 to 8 weeks right now. And we usually have a maximum registration of 20 people. That seems to be the max that works really well with an online screen environment. So in those, they're led by professional leaders, but they also have opportunities for individuals to talk and engage with each other. Our webinar series are one way, they're more information-based. Things like Be Well Talks, our yoga and our Chi Life programs, where we have a facilitator facilitating to larger numbers. Those webinars right now are ranging anywhere from about 30 participants up to 100, 150 people attending those. Our self-paced learning was exciting to have in place. 27% of our visits have been to self-paced learning, which means a lot of the content that we're providing through webinar and some through our registered groups is now available to access 24 hours a day. So those resources have been very much accessed. And then we also have a section of the website for downloadable resources. This includes guides for parents of children with cancer, guides for parents who are experiencing their own cancer, as well as a variety of healing journey resources and audio resources to complement that program. And lastly is individual support. Now, this has been growing since the beginning of the pandemic. It took a while for us to get our individual support up and running efficiently, and it's now gaining every month. So that's a little bit about the types of programs. What I wanted to do now is to dive into the different buckets of programs and tell you a little bit about what's available, as well as what we've been seeing as far as trends. So under emotional programming, I think our biggest learning here was in relation to support groups. Prior to the pandemic, Wellspring was starting to back away from support groups. We're finding that our attendance was decreasing. We have a standard of average of 6 participants is sort of our ideal, that we try to ensure that we have more than that. Between 6 to 8 is ideal for our groups, but we were finding a lot of the support groups were trending at 4 to 6, which was a little low. We feel that the quality is impacted when the numbers are lower like that. Anyways, well, when we moved online, our support groups started to off again, and we're now averaging between 7 and 9 in our support groups. So we've invested more and added more. We now have 12 different support groups available virtually, which is fantastic. We're really happy to see that. As you can see on the slide, 76% increase in visits to support groups since pre-pandemic. Another area that's really grown is our Healing Journey program, which many of you might know is a 5-level program that starts with more information-based programs, more information-based type sessions, and then moves into more interactive sessions as people dive deeper into the material. It's really focused around coping strategies and understanding your coping mechanisms and understanding your journey and putting everything into a new perspective that helps you to cope. So we've seen a 54% increase in visits to the Healing Journey program since moving online. Now, another area that we've been really pleased with are skills and strategies workshops. We weren't sure if they would transition well to online, but they did. We have art, music, writing, and wellness. And this past year, I should say this past 6 months, we've seen over 1,900 visits to these programs. So still a very important program. And family support as well is offered online. We have our parent and child support group, as well as individual counseling. And we've been able to convert our events to online virtual events as well. Now, this area was a little bit harder to get off the ground with so many children being online all day at school. Parents were a little hesitant about having their children join into virtual support on top of that. So our parent and child program will be launching again, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So if you know of any families that require support right now, we're looking for a couple more families to launch that. So that's family support. The other thing to mention is this year, back in February, we launched a new stream of programming called Living with Chronic Cancer. Now, this stream of program was to address the unique needs of those where cancer will be an ongoing part of their life. And it was really focused around connecting people and providing that community that can support people over the long run. So Wellspring now has sort of a three specialty streams of programming. Living with Chronic Cancer supports individuals while they're living and focusing on quality of life. As they progress towards more end of life and the conversations change, at that point they can transition into our Oasis Advanced Cancer Support, which really focuses more on end of life conversations. And then for caregivers, we do have our bereaved caregiver stream. So Living with Chronic Cancer, when it launched in February, we had an incredible uptake right away. Our first support group filled instantly, and we had to add a second stream to that program. So we now have 2 support groups running. And over the last 9 months, demand has increased for it again. And our Living with Chronic Cancer support group is now going weekly. The connections that are being made in there, our evaluation is showing that it's just a very much a needed program stream. So within that, you have access to chronic cancer peer support volunteers. There's also a chronic cancer coaching program. And there's also the Living with Chronic Cancer support group. So there's a variety of different options now for people living with chronic cancer. Our Oasis Advanced Cancer Support, over the last year, we've seen an increase there as well. In the first 6 months of this year, we've seen over 964 visits to our Oasis focused programs. We're finding now that we're online, fatigue isn't as much of an issue for people to access programs, so they're accessing more. And let's see, the last thing I wanted to mention on this slide was our peer support coaching and counseling has been increasing over the last year as well. Peer support, just in the last 6 months, we've had over 2,500 peer support related calls, which is fantastic. Our coaching programs are expanding. Our cancer transition coach is expanding, as well as our new chronic cancer coach. And we have now 3 specialized peer support programs in collaboration with the National Cancer Associations. So Pancreatic Cancer Canada sponsors our pancreatic cancer program. And this program has really taken off over the past year. We're now averaging about 35 peer support visits a month now with that program. And we launched a pancreatic support group to complement that as well. Bladder Cancer Canada, we launched the management of their bladder cancer peer support program back in April 2020. So that's going really well. And we launched a brand new program for myeloma patients back in April of 2021. And so that continues now. We have specially trained peer support volunteers to provide support to myeloma cancer patients across Canada as well. So that's a little bit about what's happening in the emotional portfolio. Our other program areas, under information, we've been providing Be Well talks. Now, at the beginning of the pandemic, we invested a lot in these talks because it was the fastest and easiest way to continue supporting members. So we saw a tremendous amount. We're slowing down a little bit now on our Be Well talks, but we still have 1 to 2 every month, bringing in healthcare professionals from a variety of different backgrounds to talk about what's happening in the area of research or other coping strategies for cancer patients. Nourish continues to be offered online. We used to, while our centers were operating, we had an educational and demonstration-based program. In Transition Online, it's now educationally based and they're single sessions. So we've condensed the two-part series into single sessions, and we have 6 of these available. We have added a new version of it called Talking with Dietitians, which just provides a forum for people to answer their COVID related. At the beginning, it was when we couldn't access food the same way we can now. It was talking to dietitians about how to eat well, how to find the right food. So now we've continued to offer it, but just talking about different coping strategies and around nutrition and what to eat. So those have been going very well. We're averaging about 30 to 40 individuals at every one of those sessions now that they're online. Our practical support, our Money Matters clinics, our Money Matters case management and clinics has continued to be offered throughout the pandemic. We saw a 15% increase in access to Money Matters over the past year and a half. We continue to offer support for those who are looking at returning to work. That's a 6-week registered program. And we're continuing to offer once-off workshops for individuals who are back at work and struggling with maybe some of the components of living with being post-treatment and being back at work and some of the challenges that that presents. Those are called Wellness at Work. And Brain Fog was another very surprising program over the last year. Our increase in visits was 224%. We went from offering, and this is a good example of online programming, where it used to take us a while to fill a brain fog program in a particular location. Now that it's online, the programs, as soon as they're announced, they fill immediately. So we've been running between 1 and 3 series of brain fog at any given time. And I think our experience has been that COVID has also increased the level of brain fog that individuals are experiencing. So the last section is our physical functional support. When this was one of our more complicated programs to transition, as you know, our cancer exercise program is an individualized one-on-one model for 20 weeks. We converted that into a group-based exercise program, and we're offering that for the last year. Now, the group-based exercise program, we ended up with getting into discussions with Excel, the current cancer exercise study, and we have an agreement in place now to launch Excel exercise starting in November through Wellspring. So our online exercise program will be Excel. And we are keeping our own group exercise program in the background. If there are individuals that do not want to participate in the exercise study as part of Excel, they will be able to access group exercise through our other program in the interim. Now, we also, our cancer-related fatigue moved online quite well, and it's been well accessed over the last year and a half. Chi Life and yoga are now being offered as webinars. And both of those are seeing between 30 and 40 individuals. It's offered, Chi Life is offered once a week, but we also have video content to support that. So people are able to practice Chi Life every day of the week. They can do some at home, some through the virtual platform. And then yoga is offered 3 times a week with additional self-paced learning available through the website. So that's a little bit about the programs. I wanted to move now into some of the learnings we've had over the past year. So back in May, Wellspring undertook our annual mission survey. Now, this is where we send surveys out to any individuals who's participated in a program across Canada. And we were most curious this year to see how the responses compared to our 2019 survey, where we wanted to see whether there was a difference in the perception of quality or impact. And we were really pleased to share with you that 80% of our indicators remained within 1.5% of our 2019 results. So showing that even though we flipped from in-center to online, we were really pleased to see that the indicators remained very static. So Three of our top ones there that didn't move at all were that Wellspring is warm and welcoming. Now that is a hallmark of Wellspring, of providing a space that's very comfortable for people. So this was really important to us. And we were very curious to see if the online environment could replicate that sense that you get when you walk through the door of a Wellspring. And it looks like it had. We got a 98% on that. And safe and confidential was also of interest to us because we weren't sure how people were feeling about accessing virtual programming, whether there was a safety there or a sense of confidentiality. And we did find that there was consistent there. And last, our overall satisfaction of 95% remained consistent. So that was all very encouraging news for us. The indicators with most change, the one that increased the most was managing stressful situations. As you can see, that's our only indicator that's under 80%. But we were really pleased to see that it moved from 74 to 75%. That when you consider how stressful COVID's been, that to have the programming increase in that area was quite encouraging. We also found an increase in people's understanding of what to do to maintain their well-being of 1.3%. And then that they were feeling they were gaining more skills and knowledge, another 1.5% there. Now, on the other side of things, we saw a decrease, although all of these bottom indicators are in the 90th percentile. So we're quite pleased with them. We did see a small change in feeling supported and cared about, minus 1.3%. And we also saw a small change in comfort in accessing staff, program leaders, and volunteers. Now, none of that would be surprising with moving to the virtual center. And our biggest change, though, was around helps me feel less isolated. And this one, I have to say, didn't surprise us very much. I know we've heard over the years how much value participants get from their experience of Wellspring by what happens before a class or after a class when they connect with other people in our kitchens or in the lounge areas, where they can have those informal conversations with people and really get that connection. I can see how that correlates with the sense of isolation. In virtual programs, you don't have that same ability to just sit with somebody that you've connected with in a program and catch up. So that wasn't surprising, but still happy that it's in the 90th percentile. So a little bit about what we've been seeing qualitatively around the benefits of virtual programming. First of all, I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, we were strategically looking into the world of virtual programming, but we were being very strategic, thinking that it was going to be difficult to convert people. That's one of the silver linings of COVID, that it increased the acceptance of virtual programming exponentially and very quickly. There was broad-based acceptance of virtual support in the absence of anything else. So it allowed us to move forward at a very, very quick pace. And we've seen that it's been much more successful than what we actually would have originally anticipated it being. So one of the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the increased accessibility, because we hear this all the time from our participants. The biggest one we hear about is in the area of fatigue, that many individuals were finding that to get up and get dressed, put their makeup on, drive, battle traffic to get to a center to participate in a program would have a tremendous hit on their energy levels for the day. So now that they're able to just jump on to their programs from the comfort of their home, and they're not feeling the same pressure to really pull themselves together, they're finding that it leaves a lot of energy for lots of other things in their life. So we've been hearing a great appreciation for that aspect of it, that even people who live close to centers were saying, you know, with my level of fatigue, I prefer to continue accessing programming online, that I can save that energy for other things. So fatigue's been huge. We've also noticed a lot of people accessing programming either from the comfort of their bed or from laying down on a couch. It just gives people a lot of flexibility. We also are finding people are accessing support farther towards the end stage of their illness. They're able to stay with us longer, especially in our OASIS programs, where people are facing end of life and are wanting that connection for a longer period of time. So that's been really wonderful to be able to provide more support. But also, of course, is less expensive without the subway costs and the travel costs and parking costs. It's been much more affordable for people, and that will continue to be something that will be a factor for folks. And the fact now that our video resources are available 24 hours a day. I remember pre-pandemic receiving a call from someone that was really frustrated, that was up at 2 or 3 in the morning and was saying, why can't you provide something that's when I need support, that's when I need to access something, and was wondering what could be done at 2 or 3 in the morning. So we've been getting a lot of positive feedback that by having the video resources available 24 hours a day, there's a place for people to turn when they can't sleep at 3 in the morning. And the last part is decreased wait times. Now, when we were running programs in our centers, we would have to wait until we had enough people to make the program viable to go. Now that we're accessing a national audience with a much larger number of people using the service, our wait times are much decreased because we're pulling from a broader geographic area. So programs are launching much quicker. So that was something else we're really pleased with. So the next area of benefit for expanded reach was an increase in equitable access to cancer support. Now, we've expanded geographic access, so there's more access from individuals who live in rural areas now. A lot more work to do in this area, but we are expanding every month. There's more choice now for patients and their care providers because they now have a whole variety of programs available that are relaunching on a more regular basis. So that's really been really great. And as I mentioned before, the decreased wait times. So our reach is really quite a benefit to this. We also are hearing from members about the benefits of the expansion of their supporter care network. So people are meeting other people from right across Canada now, and we are hearing that it's been really helpful for somebody in Collingwood to have a conversation with somebody from Winnipeg that has a similar diagnosis. And so there's a greater chance they're going to meet somebody who is more similar to them. And so we're finding that having that broader geographic region of people to draw from is creating new and interesting relationships. And so on the other flip side, though, our limitations that we found was, of course, you have to have access to high-speed internet, which we're hearing in some cases is just not available, or in some cases not affordable, that it's still quite expensive in some of the rural areas across Canada. We also are finding there is that range of participant comfort with technology. While most people have come along and are quite confident now, there's still a small group of people that we used to serve that just weren't comfortable moving into an online platform. And then there's those who don't have access at all to computers as well. So that's one of the limitations. We have heard from some that it's not the same human connection. And so for some people, that's a really important component of being able to reach out and touch someone or to be physically in a space together. That's really important. And I don't think that you can replicate that entirely online, but we are hearing it's pretty close when you're able to see everyone's facial expressions online. And the last part was being on Zoom can be fatiguing in itself. So if you're accessing a lot of programming on Zoom, that can add to a level of fatigue. So that's a little bit about what we've learned around the benefits and the limitations of virtual programming. So what's coming next? 2022. The number one question we get asked all the time now is, you're not going to stop virtual programming, are you? You're not going to. So 2022, we will be offering both virtual programming, and we're going to continue to build what's available through virtual programming right across Canada. So there'll be a full suite of programming available. And we're going to relaunch our centers. So we'll have both options for people in the GTA to access. In August, we did a survey of the membership just to understand what people were thinking and to help us with our planning as we move forward. So a little bit of the data that came out of that. We asked how members were feeling about coming back to their local center. Now, this survey was only to individuals who lived within access of our 3 centers in the GTA. So of that group, 21% were still feeling pretty uncertain about whether they were ready to return to a center. 20% were ready to return to the centers and couldn't wait for us to open. And 56% said that they wanted to continue virtual support. And within that 56%, there was a sense that they wanted some choice. So the next part was we asked about how are you feeling about continuing virtual programming? 18% wanted to access only virtual programming going forward. Now that they'd had access, they just wanted to stay virtual. And 39% said that they were going to try and access both. And then we asked, well, what factors are influencing these decisions that you're making right now? Number one, of course, was parking and travel costs. Now that makes sense in the city. Is with the Westerkirk location for Wellspring, the parking there is quite expensive. So that wasn't all that surprising. But very, very close to that was safety, that people really wanted to know that we had the right safety precautions in, and they wanted to see what that would look like before they came back. But right up there in a similar amount was scheduling. That's where I mentioned before about choice. We're really seeing that people would like choice. And if something's available online at a more favorable time, they're going to move to the online program versus coming to the centers. So, and then the last part, you'll see 26% indicated fatigue was going to be an indicator or something that they'd have to consider in whether they decided to access online versus in centers. So that was very helpful, but that was August. Everything with the pandemic means that thoughts and feelings change. So we'll be rerunning our survey again in early November to see if any thoughts have changed, or how people are thinking, if some of that 21% is a little more certain about what they'd like to do now. So where are we going next? Well, we've been working on a program analysis right now to understand programming, what is the best fit for each program. There are some programs in our roster that are much better online. Things like brain fog and returning to work we've found have been much better online than they ever were in the centers. So those will continue to be only accessible online. And then there's other programs that we know are really important, like relaxation and visualization is something that's really important that people connect in person about. So we're looking at breaking up or deciding within the program roster what's going to be offered in our centers right now. Cancer exercise will be coming back because we believe that one-to-one model is really, really important, and we can't wait to get that relaunched again. And we're also right now looking at COVID safety measures and what will it look like for us to open the doors? What will need to be in place to ensure that people are safe coming to Wellspring and that they're confident coming to Wellspring? So while that work's going on, we also are working right now on a brand new digital platform. Over the past 18 months running Well on the Web, we've learned a lot about what the digital platform needs to look like. So we have an incredibly talented group of people, digital experts that have been working with us to redesign what Wellspring's virtual presence will look like in order to to make it as efficient and as easy for people to access, to add in new features that will help extend the experience of our members who are only accessing support virtually. So that's in development right now. We're hoping to have it launched early in the new year. And also, we're continuing to work on our relationships for Well on the Web and expanding what we're doing nationally and finding new ways that we can work with the experts that we have access to now through our affiliated network of centers. So that's very exciting work. And then the last part is getting our centers reopened again. That will be early in 2022. We don't have any firm dates yet. We are still monitoring public health, and we're looking at what our members are looking for. So the centers, you will receive information soon about when those centers will be reopening for in-person programming. We're looking at a gradual reopening as we'll be adding more program as the months go along and as the comfort level of our membership increases with coming back to the centers. So that, I think, is it. Oh, one last thing, just a quick snapshot here. Programs, if you have patients or caregivers that you'd like to refer, it's wellspring.ca, a pretty easy web URL to remember. Or we have our 1-800 number that's being manned right now and that we can get people access. We have something called Zoom Buddies, which are individuals that help people to learn how to navigate the website. If someone's a little nervous about accessing virtual program, our Zoom Buddies will do a whole tutorial with them to help them feel more confident about accessing online programs, answer all their questions, get them all set up. So the 1-800 number is there. And then this is just a snapshot of the Well on the Web page and where you can go. You see there that we have a tab for online programs. That's where all of our programs are listed and people can register for whatever they'd like there. We also have a program schedule where they can see it at a glance what's happening on any given day. And then there's tabs for self-paced learning. We have over 50 different videos there for people to access. And then the resources, that's for our downloadable resources. So hopefully that helps you to navigate people who could benefit from these programs. And I wanted to thank all of you for your time today. And I'd love to spend some time hearing your questions or answering anything or hearing any comments or feedback you have.